you. Okay, a lot of people. Oh, 2 and 3. Okay. Okay, so from the reply, I can see most of you think it's can be better, and few of you think it's good. Few of you just some of you mentioned that you're here. You're not falling asleep in the morning on Saturday. That's great. So I want to say that is so Bob, when Bob go to this event and asking those questions are very personal. It requires people to have a very good understanding of what's Bob's background, what is Bob's skill set. So this he's asking for very personalized suggestion. And say if you go to the event, you're barely a stranger before, right? And it's hard for a stranger to know about your background, give you a very personalized advice, right? So and Bob is also, I assume he's an adult, and as an adult you should be responsible for yourself and make a decision for yourself, right? Sounds like Bob is asking someone else, trying to say, yeah, if this is if this role is fit for him. And what is the good question then? So in this case, if you go to event, assume the person, if you ask question, assume the person don't know your background, don't have enough understanding of you, it's good to ask for some general question. For example, what do you like about this job? What do you dislike about this job? By asking those questions, you kind of get a feeling of, okay, whether this job align with my role, whether this job align with my interest, align with my passion, align with my potential, and whether I will enjoy this job in the future. And you can also ask what skills are required for this job, so that you kind of evaluate what skills you need to develop so that you can get this job. And then you can ask some personal question like, oh, what is your journey to getting this job? What do you think are leaders and role model in the industry? So by getting to know other people's success story, you can potentially get some inspiration, motivation from their success story. So those are general questions, can give you some general insight on whether you will like this job, whether this job is a good fit for you, what skills you need to develop so that you can get this job. And don't be afraid to ask direct question about, is there any job opening in your company? Can you help me recommend this role? If you can, who else do you recommend me to talk to? And what are risks associated with this role? So if you're worried about the job security, you can ask about the risk. So don't be afraid to ask direct question. Any questions so far? You can type in the chat about your... Okay. If you have no question, go to next part. It's important. Oh, ask for referral. Okay. To who we direct the question? Oh, say for example, if you're in the scenario is if you want to ask you're looking for a job in the machine learning engineer or data scientist, data analyst, and you're talking to a mentor who currently in this industry, who currently working in this company, and you're curious about this role in their company, and you can ask, oh, can you give me referral? Is there any like data scientist role in your company? Can you refer me, or who else do you recommend me to talk to? So that's the scenario when you can ask direct question. Is it okay to be too direct? It is depends on if you have small talk, depends on how the conversation go. So, but what I'm trying to say is don't be afraid to ask this direct question. But when to ask direct question, it really depends on the scenario. And yeah, so let me go back to the slide. Thanks for the question. Maybe we'll go over the question at the very end if you have time. So it's important to be respectful. Respect yourself, because each of you earn your opportunity to be here. And imposter syndrome is real. Respect yourself and respect other people's time by be well prepared. Prepared with a good goal. Prepared with your self-introduction. Prepared with questions list so that you respect other people's time. Here I have some lists of what we recommend to do and what we recommend you don't do during networking. We will go back to this list. Let me first give you some scenario example, and then we will go back to it. So this example is you're in a group discussion and someone is very passionate talking about the AI project. So A is you can choose to nodding positively, but assume you can nodding in this virtual environment. But yeah, I'm saying that in the in-person meetup, you can say, someone's talking about AI project, you'll be like, that sounds right. Or you can ask an open-ended question like, oh, that sounds fantastic. What challenge do you face during your implementation? I assume, including myself, most of you might just nodding when you're listening. However, if you ask open-ended questions, you really show your interest in this topic. You encourage the people to share more, and it's easy to follow up and have more engaging. You're more engaged in the discussion. It really helps you to go deeper in the conversation. So active listening is very important during networking. Another example is, say, if you're talking to a hiring manager and you share a project that didn't go as planned. So A is you can choose to sugarcoat it, make it look like a major success. B is you openly talk about the challenge you faced, the mistake you made, and the important lessons you learned. Oh, I understand that it's kind of, I won't let you to type which one you choose, but I understand it's human nature you don't want to talk about failure projects sometimes, especially to hiring manager, right? However, the result of project matters, but who you are also matters, how you learn from the project and how you apply the learning to the future project, and the growth mindset you demonstrate really make you a good candidate, really make you stand out among the competition. Yeah, Don said resilience is important, especially a lot of development isn't happy paths. Yeah, it is. It's common that some project doesn't go as planned. What matters is how you view it, how you learn from it, how you use the learning for your future projects. It really shows how you can grow, how you can develop, right? So it's very important to be authentic. Thanks for joining the discussion, you guys. And this is another example. After attending a conference, you can either add people on LinkedIn and happy about the growth in your network. Yeah, I have one more connection on my network. I'm going to get a job soon because I'm going to be popular. Everyone's going to know me. So it's kind of common, right? You're going to meet someone in this event or in a different event and add someone on your LinkedIn to stay connected. Or you can choose B, after you're connected, you send a personalized thank you email. Or you can choose C, you schedule a follow-up meeting to continue the discussion. You know, networking is not about the number on your LinkedIn connection. It's really about relationship, the meaningful relationship. And you should really send a personalized email and schedule follow-up, to follow up, really cultivate this meaningful relationship, to build this connection, to enhance this relationship. So it's very important to follow up. Now we go back to this list, in the list of what we recommend you to do and what we recommend you not do. I think someone mentioned about when to ask direct question to, like, can you refer me? Here, like I put it here, like, don't be too pushy and don't overlook small talk. So it really depends on the scenario, but it's good to pay attention to those things. And also we have a summary here, like be authentic, listen carefully, remember to follow up, be prepared. And another thing I want to emphasize here is it's really don't forget to be consistent. And 80% of success is showing up. And each of you here today showing up in this event is a success itself. And if each of you apply what we learned today in this networking session and apply those networking tips to your future event and be consistent about it is a way to your own success. And thank you, everyone. I have today's content in my blog and have my contact and linking everything, contact information on my website. And thank you for listening. And I really appreciate you guys sharing in this discussion chat. I love the energy here. Thank you.
Thank you, Annie, for sharing. We may take maybe one last question. That's what do you mean with this small talk? I think it's in context with LinkedIn talk. I'm not sure. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for the questions.
Yeah.
And
oh, QR.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll put my link in here, and if you have any question related, I can connect with you guys offline. If that, or what do you think, Pretty?
We can share in Discord channel your blog, and they can directly, if you prefer, they can directly connect.
Just put my link in here. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Annie. You have indeed provided invaluable guidance on the etiquettes of both virtual and in-person interactions. I'm pretty sure it's very useful for people that these highlights the significance of respect, both for ourselves and others, and the art of active listening, the critical aspects of crafting LinkedIn messages, and keeping the relationship meaningful. I think this is very valuable for everybody, at least in today's time, where most of us are struggling with with some people are not able to find the job, some people who have the jobs, they are not able to maintain that status. So I think this session was really really meaningful. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and insights with us. And I'll move on to thank you. And I'll move on to our next in the agenda. I hope you can see my slide. Now let's welcome Margaret. Now we are moving more towards our machine learning road to Google Developer Certification agenda. Let's welcome Margaret. Margaret is a machine learning engineer experienced in applying machine learning to real-world use cases in art and design. She's recognized as Google Developers Experts in AI and machine learning. She's a contributor to open source projects, writes and speaks about generative AI, on-device machine learning, art and design. She's also a 3D fashion designer and avid artist, creating traditional digital and AI art. And now I'm also keeping a meaningful LinkedIn connection with her. She has been awesome so far. So yes, let's welcome Margaret and move towards the session. I'll stop sharing.
Great, thank you, Pretty. And hello, everyone. I'm going to be sharing with you my screen momentarily. Pretty, I think we have not gone over the, oh, okay. So I will just start with session 1, right, from here?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. So today we're going to go over, this is session 1. We have 6 sessions. And today we're going to go over where we are in this study session journey. I'm going to go over along with Sowndarya.
Yes.
Sowndarya.
Sowndarya. Hello.
Hey.
Yeah. So we're gonna go over the content review. So I will go over the first one, and Sowndarya will go over the second one, and then we'll go through some sample question review, and in the end it's Q&A, and look at what's coming up for the next week. Where are we in our journey? There are 6 sessions, and hopefully all of you already got access to the Google Cloud Skills Boost access, so you can see the MLE machine learning engineer learning path. So in the 6 sessions, prior to each session, we expect everybody to please study the courses before you join us. But I understand this is the first session. Perhaps not all of you already studied. And for session 1 today, preferably you have completed the course, Intro to AI and the Machine Learning on Google Cloud, and also launching into machine learning. So, 6 sessions, you can see the dates, etc. here. And now I'm going to start with the content review. So first, as I mentioned earlier, hopefully you're following the courses on the MLE learning path on Google Cloud Skills Boost. And we will review these topics: Intro to AI and the Machine Learning on Google Cloud, and then ML problem framing. Now on Intro to AI and ML on Google Cloud, again, that is the second class on the MLE learning path. And before I go over that, I just want to, I think Preeti already introduced me. You already know that I'm a GDG Seattle organizer, and also a MLGDE, and also 3D fashion designer and artist, and studied at Parsons School of Business. My area of expertise in machine learning is generative AI, computer vision, and on-device machine learning. And I will be teaching an AI course at the University of Washington this upcoming spring quarter in a few weeks. So some of you in the audience might be students or from UW. So the first module of the course, Intro to AI and the Machine Learning on Google Cloud, talks about how this course is organized into 3 modules. For those of you who have already taken the course, what I'm going over is going to be kind of a review with you. But for those of you who have not taken the course, this will be like you get a gist of a summary before you actually taking the course. So the course is organized into these modules: AI foundations, AI development, AI solutions, and generative AI. I will go over very briefly each module and answer any questions you may have at the end of today's session. On the first module of AI foundations, the course goes over these topics: why Google, why study AI, right? So for those of you who, you're participating, feel free, type in the chat, like, why are you interested in studying AI, right? So as all of you know, AI is a rapidly growing field with the potential to revolutionize many industries, right? No matter which industry you come from, likely AI is making a huge impact in there. Why are we studying this with Google Cloud, right? Why Google? Well, Google is an AI, it's a leader in the AI area, and has always been an AI first company from the very beginning, right, with the search. And then the course goes over the AI and the machine learning framework on Google Cloud, then an overview of the Google Cloud infrastructure, networking, the infrastructure, right, with networking and security, compute and storage, data, and AI products. Then the course dive into data and AI products. and then talk about the machine learning model categories, BigQuery, ML, and then end with a lab, a hands-on lab, using BigQuery ML to predict visitor purchases with the with ease. So in module 2, the course goes over the AI development options on Google Cloud. Depending on your business needs and ML expertise, the course goes over these options from easy to more complex, right? Pre-trained APIs, BigQuery ML, AutoML, to using custom training methods. And then this module 2 of AI development options ends with a hands-on lab with sentiment analysis. Yeah, so, from easy to pre-trained APIs, to BigQuery, to AutoML, to custom training. In module 3, AI development workflow, the course covers these topics. It starts with how a machine learns, which is like, the fundamentals, the basics of machine learning, right? How machine learns. And then it goes into ML workflow. Actually, before it goes, let me just talk about how the machine learning learns part. It also briefly mentions like ANN, DAN, CAN, RN, then large language models. After that, it goes into the ML workflow. The workflow has 3 steps: data prep, model development, and then model serving. So, section 2 is kind of the ML workflow overview, but 3, 4, 5 actually goes into more details of the data prep, model development, and the model serving using tools on Google Cloud. And then the 6th section goes over ML ops and how to automate your machine learning workflow with the pipeline, like TFX, etc. And then the module ends with a hands-on lab with AutoML, how to predict loan risk in this hands-on lab. Okay, so I went over the AI foundations, AI development options, and the AI development workflow. And the last module in this course of Intro to AI and Machine Learning on Google Cloud talks about generative AI. Now, this course, for those of you who have attempted, I'm not sure about what everybody's background is, but for those of you who have tried to learn the MLE, the Machine Learning Engineer Learning Path on the Cloud Skill Boost, or previously known as Quick Lab, you probably will notice that this course, Intro to AI Machine Learning on Google Cloud, is new, and it's fairly new. And then generative AI is also new for the MLE learning path. So what is generative AI? It's an AI that generates content. It can be multimodal, meaning it could generate one type or multiple types. And also the input could be one type and multiple types, right? And it generates by using generative models. These content, or sometimes you can also consider them as input to the model as well, could be text, code, image, speech, video, and also 3D. And how to use generative AI on Google Cloud? You have 2 main options. One is using Model Garden, and another way is to use Generative AI Studio on Google Cloud. And Model Garden has different models. These are just some of the examples, right? PaLM for text, PaLM for chat, and Imagine for image, embedding API for text and image, Chirp for speech, Cody for code generation. And there's also task-specific solutions. For example, entity analysis, sentiment analysis, syntax analysis, content classification, object detector, text translation, etc. And there's Google models made by Google, and there's also open source models there as well. That if you go to the model garden on Google Cloud to look. I just put a screenshot of Vertex AI Studio here. As I mentioned here before, it has when the course is made for the MLE learning path, they mention language, vision, and speech, right? I put a screenshot here on the Vertex AI Studio. There are also a new one, which is multimodal. Okay, who here can tell me which model are we referring to here when I say multimodal? Anyone? Yay! Okay, Robert. All right, if I can give you out a reward, yes, Gemini, multimodal. So besides language, vision, and speech, we have multimodal with Gemini. And a few days ago, yes, Sarah by OpenAI creating video. And OpenAI does have a lot of multimodal models as well. So Gemini was recently announced, and Gemma a few days ago open sourced the model, more lightweight version of Gemini. It was also announced. And the course on the machine learning engineer learning path on Cloud Skill Boost also ends the module with a language collab with Vertex AI Studio. Okay, and I just want to mention, although large language models, large in terms of the data set and the parameters, is a super, super important part of generative AI. However, don't equate generative AI equals to just large language models, right? Imagine somebody mentioned Sora, text to video, and also, before Stable Diffusion became popular, before then people were working on GANs. Now most of the generative models for image uses diffusion models, right? But don't mistake that when we think about generative AI, only large language models. There are other models out there. All right. There are some upcoming events on generative AI. First one is Duet AI Roadshow, organized by Google Cloud team. This is like worldwide event. Go there, take a look. I believe Seattle is on March 5th. I will be a TA there helping out. And then Vancouver, there's going to be a one Vancouver coming up. There's multiple sessions worldwide in the US, West Coast, East Coast. And then please mark your calendar. Build with the AI by gdg.community.dev on April 20th. And then organized, GDG Seattle is also organizing an event, Build with the AI, on May 4th. Hopefully we'll have Lawrence Moroney and many other awesome speakers there as well. So with that, I think that is the end of my section of content review. And you can feel free keep in contact with me on social media. I'm gonna just type in my handle in the chat. Thank you, everyone. So I stopped the sharing. Back to you, Pretty. Or I should say hand it down to the next speaker or sharing the screen.
Yeah. I'll take it from
Sowndarya.
here. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you, Margaret. I really think this is very valuable, insights into the overall AI ML content that we have in the courses, and how you touched base on generative AI, how to use it on Google Cloud. I think understanding the basics and where to get started is very crucial first step towards the certification series. Thank you so much for that. Now, let me quickly share my screen and introduce our next speaker. So yes, next moving on to Sowndarya. Sowndarya is a data and analytics engineer at Infosys with a focus on machine learning, data visualization, Python, and SQL. Her journey from a test analyst to a lead business analyst showcases her expertise in fintech, best practices, and system optimizations. With a master's in data science, she not only excels academically, but also in translating complex technical concepts into understandable narratives. Sowndarya has been playing a vital role in the GDG study core team, significantly contributing to the development of the Road to Google Developer Certification series. Thank you, Sowndarya. Over to you.
Thank you so much for the detailed introduction, but thank you so much, Preeti. And I am part of GDG Surrey, and I help and volunteer the group. Well, as Preeti mentioned, I started my career as a test analyst and progressed towards business analysis. And I took a short break in between to take care of family, and I started with data science a couple of years back, and I have a master's now. So just like you all starting your journey now, I started it 2 years back, just during the COVID and the pandemic. And it gave me a really tough time because I was not able to connect with anyone, and virtual meetups were just getting started, but I'm very thrilled to meet you all in this session and share my knowledge and have a great discussion. Well, I will start sharing my screen. Are you able to see the slides or the presenter view?
We can see the presenter view.
Presenter view, is it? Okay, I'll just get. How do I?
No,
Okay,
I think.
Can you share the screen slides if you can?
Yeah. I think you were sharing the right slides.
Okay.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay. In this session, we are going to talk about ML problem framing and model evaluation and fairness. But before we start this session, let's start it with an activity. In this activity, we are all going to be ML models, and we'll see a bunch of pictures, and let me know if we can see a cat or not. Unfortunately, I'm not able to see the chat. But let me try to. Okay, so what do you see now? Is it a cat or not?
Yes.
Yes. So the next one, definitely not a cat, right? It's a hamster. Third one, no, it is not a cat too. Well, the fourth one is a cat. How about the fifth? It is also a cat. And how about the sixth one? Unfortunately, I'm not able to see the chat screen. Preeti, if you
I
can
can
help
see
me
that.
out. How
Yeah.
many of you would say that the sixth image is a cat?
I think we are getting cat on sixth one. Some people are saying big cat, cattish, no tiger. Yeah,
Okay,
cattish.
so so in order to come out of the confusion, let me reframe my question. So let's consider we are building a pet recommender app. And how would you classify the last picture now? Definitely, although it's a cat, it's not a pet, right? So
Mhm.
that brings us to the next slide, where the quote is, all machine learning starts with a business requirement or a goal that you're trying to solve. So the output of the ML model depends heavily on the business problem that we are trying to solve. So before knowing how to frame an ML problem, let's all take a step back to understand why we need to understand the problem first and why we have to frame the problem. Why is it much important? The problem framing part ensures that the ML approach is a good solution before we even begin with the work and before we train the model altogether. So understanding the problem involves asking questions to yourself. What is the goal of my business problem? And determining the approach and verifying if we have the required data. So the first step, stating the goal. So we have to ask ourselves, what are we trying to accomplish? Let's say we want to build a weather app. So what would be our goal? It can be to calculate precipitation every 6 hours in a particular location, say sorry. Yeah, as simple as that. Next, we have to think about our ML approach. So broadly, as discussed before, ML problems can be divided into two. One is it can be a predictive ML problem or it can be a generative AI. We had a great session, and Margaret helped us to understand what is generative AI. But predictive ML is nothing but making informed prediction based on the historical data, whereas generative AI generates an output based on intent, right? So it learns from the patterns that it already has, and with the based on our input, it just doesn't make only the predictions. It creates a new content such as a music, an artwork, or even writing. And then next the last question that we have to ask ourselves before even thinking about framing the problem is, do we have the required data? Because to train a successful ML model, we need a comprehensive, relevant, and high quality data. For example, let's consider we are predicting house pricing. And to predict this, we must get historical data on house sales, prices, location, size, features, and all those stuff. So if we lack in any of these essential variables, the results of our ML predictions would be not right. So to train a good ML model, we also need a diverse data set. So our uh, it is our it is very good. So before creating an ML problem, we have to ensure that the data is really relevant, comprehensive, and of high quality and diverse too. So when we are framing, so before this, we had a clear understanding of what our problem is and about our data. So next, we can take a structured approach to ask few questions detailed on what our exact ML model is trying to solve. What is it trying to predict? Let's take our previous example where we were building an app, weather app, right? So to predict the rainfall. So an ML problem in this case would be how much rainfall in a particular area, how much rain will fall in a particular area over the next 6 hours. So to answer these questions, we need historical weather patterns and relevant climatic variables. Next comes the software problem. So who are all the stakeholders? What is our landscape with respect to software? We need to think about this. And the last one, we have to think about the data. How are we collecting the data? How diverse is our data? And um, how adaptable we can make the ML model with the data. So answering these questions, we will have a clear idea of the defined ideal outcome of and the goals model. And we will also have the model's output along with the success metrics. There is a simple lab exercise as part of launching into ML, I believe, where you can do this activity and you'll be able to see that you are framing this machine learning problem really well before even you are training the data or preparing the data. So these components ensure that the model aligns with our end users and provides valuable and actionable predictions. But do you think this is enough to start our problem? To start, building our ML model? Let's take an example. Let's say that we are building an ML model to predict bike rental insurance, right? The model's absolute mean error, which is an evaluation metric, says that it is 1200 seconds. Great. But how do we know this is a good value or not? So we do not have any benchmark to compare to if our model is doing great or not. And this brings me to the next important concept to understand is building a prototype. So before we even jump into development, we have to build a prototype which can actually helps us to uncover some hidden requirements or implementation challenges within our project. So we learned that machine learning is an iterative process, and we should always start with a simple model and continue to refine it until we reach our goal. So what is heuristic benchmark? It is nothing but a simple point of comparison. It can be anything. It can be a constant value. It can be a rule of thumb in any case. It can be a mean, median, or a mode, or a human expert or a domain expert who actually gives us a benchmark that we can compare to with our model. Usually in the industry, we actually tend to build a simple model, say linear regression model, and always compare our bigger models to that to understand how well our model is doing. But not necessarily this is the best approach, because we can also trust on other good benchmarks like a domain expert or even a rule of thumb. So returning to our bike example, in this case, we can have the average rental duration in a particular station and take the average of this rental duration in a particular station and understand how our model perform against this benchmark. So recapping a bit on the ML pipeline. So we have this data preparation phase. So we have the problem in hand, the data in hand, and can we start with the ML pipeline now? Yes. So ML pipeline has three main components. One is the data preparation, modeling, and serving the model, and monitoring the model, right? So I would call an ML project equivalent to cooking, because just like cooking, it's also an art with science, right? So it is built with an intuition with data. It has to not technically work but also solve a real world problem, just like when we prepare food, right? It should not only become a dish, we should also be able to consume it. So whether we can achieve all these through manual approach, or we can take a automated pipeline in this matter. So Google helps with that too, right? So it is a blend of it. I would say ML pipeline is a blend of creativity, technique, and magic actually. But I wouldn't say actually magic, but it's definitely math, right? So there is a math behind every ML algorithm, and that is what it's giving you the magic. Okay. And in the first part, we saw that we have to extract the data, do the data prep. What do you mean by data prep? It is nothing but understanding the data set that you have in your hand. So simply put, get to know your data. So as a first step, whenever we have a data set, we have to split it into three. One is as a training training set, validation set, and a test set. So we can think this more like a cast of play. Okay, so where you before your opening night, you have to rehearse yourself with the training data. You have to learn the script, get to know your role and everything. So that is when, and during the training, our ML models learn the data. The validation set is when the dress rehearsal happens. So the data here helps us to refine our ML model. And in the test set is our opening night, where the model gets to see the test data and see some actual reactions from the audience. And next part to get in getting to know your data is improving the data quality. So there are various steps involved in improving data quality. It can be resolving a missing value or converting datetime features, removing unwanted columns, or converting categorical columns to one-hot encoding. So we would require all these steps to be performed as per our datasets requirement. As I mentioned before, building an ML pipeline is just like cooking. In this case, let's consider you are doing your family recipe where a particular ingredient is missing. So we just don't replace that particular ingredient with something that we know, right? So we would go do the research. We would see which ingredient would fit it best. So just like that, we have to follow all these steps, understanding the data, how it solves our business problem. And last but not the least, when we are preparing the data, we have to explore the data. Exploratory data analysis is similar to conducting a data audit before we are committing to a model. It is about understanding each and every feature within the data. We understand each individual feature story through univariate analysis, and we also see how the features interact with each other with bivariate analysis. It is as a good teacher starts with the basics before diving into complex theories. EDA equips us with the foundational insights about our data's behavior. And in the essence, EDA is letting us know about the data and its secrets to us before we build our machine learning model. And it is a very vital step. And if you had attended our previous session, we have also mentioned that EDA and the data prep consumes almost 80% of your work activity as a ML engineer or a data scientist. So now we know about our data, we have a fair understanding. So when we have this data, the data can be a labeled data where we have the answer key to a test, right? So it has all the answers. It says that, hey, these photos are cats, these are dogs, or that helps you to differentiate. So, and we have our output data type that we analyzed before during our problem framing. And these are key to identify what kind of ML model we have to use. So if our data is labeled and we require an output type of number, then we go for a regression model. When we want a categorical output, then we go for classification. But if we don't have answers, like say labeling, saying that this picture is a cat or If we don't have that, we are just looking at the patterns to group them into similar items, and that is called clustering. To give you an example of what it is actually, so we can see this graph, right? So where we can see that for a regression problem, according to this scatter plot, we can have our we can understand the perfect regression problem would be where we predict how someone might tip on the bill. Okay, so it is a continuous number. So when we want the answer of how someone might tip, we go for a regression problem. In the classification problems, we are trying to create a clear decision boundaries, like in here, that separates different classes. So it is sort of like sorting M&Ms by color. So now you will get a question. So where does deep learning comes into picture? Deep learning is a specialized version of machine learning, and there are important factors like data requirement, accuracy, the training time, and hardware dependency before we before we jump into deep learning. So it is like when we want to have a supercar, okay, you need the best fuel and a great road to see what it can really do, right? So such factors are taken into consideration when we go for deep learning approach. On the other hand, machine learning is less picky. You can work with less data and you don't need any fancy GPUs to train your model, and it's like your everyday car. Okay, moving on from some heavy topics, let's move to another most important topic when it comes to data, which is understanding responsible AI. Responsible AI is an umbrella term, okay, that encompasses a bunch of different concepts like fairness, explainability, privacy, and security. The fairness ensures the model is fair and equitable for all different groups of users. Explainability means understanding the features that are influencing a particular model's behavior. Whereas privacy and security are pretty much straightforward, which says that we need to protect our users' data like it's our own personal secret. And security is that the AI model or the ML model that we are building should be safe. Google gives an amazing tool. It's an easy, intuitive interface for exploring the relationship between various data points and across different features of a data set. So this is called Facet. This Facet tool can help you discover new interesting things about your data. Definitely do check out this particular tool, which helps you to understand more about your data and gives a quick understanding how the values and features vary within the data set. But also remember, bias is not always a bad thing. There is another type of bias which is called naturally occurring bias. It is a bias that we cannot fix by collecting more data. So let's assume that a data set we are working, it has all possible data, but could not be improved with the bias part by adding more data to it. We call these data sets to be imbalanced. So most of the real world data sets aren't perfectly balanced, okay? So especially when we try to solve anomaly detection or multi-class classification, or when we are predicting a rare occurrence, then our data sets are meant to be imperfect. There are three techniques for handling this imbalanced data set. One is downsampling, upsampling, and weighted classes. They are very straightforward things to actually understand, but when you apply, we really have to understand what it is really doing to our ML. So let me quickly give you a preview of each one and show you what it looks like. Okay, so the first one is downsampling. It is when your majority class is more and your minority class is less. Let's say you are building an ML model to predict the loan repayment. Okay, so in that scenario, what you'll have is you'll have majority of data where people have repaid the loan effectively, but you will have very less data to work with on the minority class, that is the people who have not paid the loan on time. So to overcome this problem, what we can do is we can discard a random sample of majority class to make both the classes pretty much balanced. There is a small caveat in this. When we discard a random sample, we should also ensure that we do not lose any information within the data so that we are not predicting it properly. So this is what it is. We discard some of the data, a random sample of data here, downsampling. And the next is upsampling. Upsampling is a bit more complex than downsampling, but it is when you increase your minority class. See, you generate a synthetic new data to the data set and you are doing your ML predictions on top of it. So there is also a third method called weighted class. Weighted class, simply put, is when you give more importance to your minority class. Okay, so this method is quite effective and many of the ML frameworks support this. Okay. When we have these kind of imbalanced data set in real world, we need to make sure that we are looking at the right evaluation metrics too. Let's say that we choose an overall model accuracy as our metric. See, in this example, we can see that the accuracy is 93%, but this might always not point to the best picture of our model. An imbalanced data set can be misleading, and when evaluating the overall model accuracy, choosing the right metric to evaluate model performance is very, very crucial. For example, let's consider this binary classification problem. It is important to evaluate the performance of the minority class in a confusion matrix so that the model performance is not compromised. So we should always make sure to choose the right metrics to evaluate our model. So in this slide, you can see two squiggly lines, but these tell us a lot about our machine learning model and how good it is to make a particular decision. This one here is the ROC curve. So this ROC is used to check how well our model distinguishes between two classes, like separating oranges from apple. But on the right, we have a more special graph. I call this special because it focuses on the minority class, which is the class that has fewer examples, right? So let's say we are looking for diamonds in a big pile of rocks. There aren't many diamonds, so we really need to focus on not missing any of the diamonds, right? So this is where the PR curve comes in. So both of these graphs gives a particular value called AUC number, which is just to sum up, gives you how good the curve is. The higher the number of AUC, it is better. So this is all the technical stuff that I'm covering today. And next we'll be seeing some sample questions that you may get in the certification exam, right? So these questions are actually not to test the knowledge, but to give you a glimpse of how the questions in the real world exams or in an interview can be, right? So it is when we learn machine learning, it is not about learning the concept, but it is about applying those concepts in a particular data set. So I would highly recommend you all to pick up a data set, start from the first step wherein you understand the problem framing, do the ask the necessary questions to your data set, and follow the ML pipeline process to understand and apply each and every concept to your project. So the first question is here. You work for a maintenance company and have built and trained a deep learning model that identify defects based on thermal image of underground electric cables. Your dataset contains 10,000 images, 100 of which contain visible defects. How should you evaluate the performance of the model on the test data? Can you go ahead and type in your answer for this? It can be guesswork too. No worries. Preeti, I would like you to help me with the maximum answers that we get. Majority class.
Yeah, sure. I'm looking at chat, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. No answers yet. B.
B.
We
Okay.
get B. We have option D. Yeah, majority is B, and then we see D.
Okay.
E, actually, there is mixed. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So the correct answer is actually A, because AUC curve helps you to understand the minority class here, right? So area under the curve is the correct answer for this. So when we try to discuss B and D, let's first see D. Okay, so where this particular cosine similarity to compare a model performance is actually used in a particular algorithm called KNN, and it doesn't fit. Whereas with respect to B, we cannot focus on true positive because we are to find the visible defects, right? So the right answer would be A. Okay, let's move on to the next question. This question is very specific to Google environment, and I would highly recommend you to learn what are the Google's offerings for building an app, right? So you are an ML engineer at a media company, and you need to build an ML model to analyze video content frame by frame, identify object, and alert users if there is an inappropriate content. Which Google Cloud products should you use to build this project? Go type in your answers. The answers can be anything. If you want a hint, you can ask me too.
We're getting B, A, D.
Okay, let me give you a hint here, okay? So, look at this flow diagram. Now tell me, which would be the right answer? Do you have any change?
I see C, option C, D, but majority is A.
Okay, the answer is definitely C, because PubSub is the app service that we use, the Google function, and Video Intelligence API, and cloud logging. I would explain why this is the right answer, because as you can see, we use the PubSub app engine, and here the confusion comes between D and the answer C and D, right? Our D answer says it is Auto ML Vision. The Auto ML Vision actually detects custom labels and is used for custom models. When we want any customization, we would go for Auto ML Vision. Whereas Vision API is used to detect the broad objects and scenes from the image and label the detection. So, going back to our question, C would be the right answer. Do you want to go for another question?
I'm sorry. I think we'll not have time left for the questions on Slido.
Yeah, so this would give you a high level knowledge on how you can expect questions from real world when you learn ML and AI. Okay, So it is not about learning a particular thing, but we have to know how to apply them in real life scenarios. So I am ready for questions. I'll stop sharing.
Thank you, Sowndarya, for the comprehensive overview of the fundamentals of machine learning, and covering till, I should say, the criteria for evaluating and going through the products that Google has to offer in terms of making it almost no code for the machine learning aspirants. Let's quickly hand over to Darshan so we can go over the questions that were posted by our attendees.
Sure.
Yeah, let me share my screen. So we have close to 7 minutes, so we'll try to answer as many questions as possible. And if we are not able to cover your question, I would highly encourage you to join our Discord channel, and there we'll try to answer questions. If you guys haven't gone onto Slido, there is a QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code, add your questions, but let's get started. So we can start with the highest upvoted questions. We'll go top to bottom. So the first question is, how do I get into the credits for studying ML on Google? This is my first time in workshop. So I think they are basically asking how do they get credit. So
yeah, I think I can take that question. So once you RSVP for our event within this series from session 1 to session 6 on our event page, after the RSVP, it will take around 2 working days, and you should be you will be granted for 3 calendar months. You'll be granted some credits. But just in case you don't get the credits, you can reach out to us on Discord. We have a dedicated channel. We collect your inputs there, whether you receive the credits or not, and then we send it to the Google team for who provides the credits. So we'll talk on behalf of you. But yes, you have to just RSVP to our events, and that's it.
thank you, Preeti. The next question is, will an MLE certification exam voucher or discount be provided for this learning path journey?
We are not, I'll take that too. We are not sure about it, but we are trying our best. But amongst you, if there is any sponsors, please reach out to us so that we can provide some vouchers, but we are still working on it. On that note, I would say, Darshan, that we can move to more machine learning and AI questions. And about the cloud credits and the vouchers, etc., we'll take it in the Discord, if that's okay. We can go to more conceptual questions.
Okay, yeah, moving to machine learning questions. How much data do we need before starting to use it for our ML? And how do we know that the data is suitable for solving the problems?
Okay, to answer this particular question, so again, as we said before, we have to build a prototype and we have to compare it against our benchmark and see if our predictions are getting closer to our success metric or not. If not, we would need more data, and we have to collect more data and see where it fits and better and make our model better.
Okay, thank you so much, Sowndarya. Yeah, there is another question. I'm an experienced engineer and want to get into ML. Any advice from where to start?
I believe, Margaret, do you want to take this question?
Yes, sure. There are many ways to get started, and there's so many online courses: Coursera, MIT, Udacity, you name it. So you could take classes online. And I think for this particular class, we said that we would prefer that you're already working with the cloud, that you can go through the MLE certificate. However, looking through the curriculum, it really starts with pretty basics of machine learning. You could also study along with us in this journey and learn the basics of machine learning, at the same time learn the AI and machine learning tools on Google Cloud.
Yeah, thank you so much, Margaret. This sessions definitely I find them really helpful to get to know more about ML. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is another ML related question, which is more example of imbalanced data for weighted classes. How do we analyze the results without over attributing actions to minority class?
Okay, I think there are two questions in this one question. So I'll answer the second one first. So how to analyze results without over attributing actions to a minority class? So choosing the perfect right metrics and using and also using like there are other validation methods like cross-fold validations, and there are techniques to actually proportionate each class and build model. So that is one of the ways through which we can overcome this problem. So
Thank you
I
so
think
much,
that would
Sowndarya.
answer the first one as well.
Okay, thank you so much. And there was another question regarding the certification. Let me go to that. Yeah. Is there a certification for generative AI from Google? And is this embedded in the ML certification?
I will take that question. There's no certification like the MLE, because Google Cloud has a data architect and machine learning engineer, etc. Right? So there's no equivalent for generative AI. However, on Google Cloud Skills Boost, you will find two learning paths on generative AI. One is more of a beginner-friendly one. Another one is more for more experienced developers. If you go to the learning path tab, you can find those. GDG for GDG Surrey is organizing this MLE study series, then ending with an in-person build with AI on April 20th. For GDG Seattle, we are starting our build with AI in person on May 4th. After that, we're going to have a series of online sessions, and that's going to be focusing on generative AI. Likely, we will be using the generative AI learning path from Google Cloud Skills Boost.
Thank you so much, Margaret. I guess we are at time, so we can take a final question, which is related to the, okay, where is the Duet AI Roadshow event for Vancouver? And I guess when would also be the
So
question.
the
Yeah.
Duet AI Roadshow is actually organized by Google Cloud team. You know, like us, pretty GDG Surrey and GDG Seattle. We are the community, right? But the Duet AI Roadshow is by Google Cloud team, and I don't know when it will be coming to Vancouver. Just keep an eye on the registration link. I have it in the slide, and afterwards the organizers will be sharing the slides with everyone, and I will also paste the link in there. Keep an eye on it to see when Vancouver is coming.
Okay, thank you so much, Margaret. And there is recently highest upvoted question, which is where should we find the module wise for next MLE class? Yeah, I guess they're talking about the next session that we are planning to have.
Yeah.
So yeah, you want to share more details on that?
Yes. So first, we always email you with the what you should prepare for the next session. Second, we keep you updated on our Discord channel with the complete session plan, and we will also provide it publicly. On LinkedIn channel as well. We provide it publicly. And the fourth would be that the event page itself has the session plan, But if you have not got the access to it, we'll provide it now. Darshan, do you have the link handy for the session plan? We can provide it in the chat.
Yeah, I'll grab the link and quickly post it in the chat. Yep.
Yeah, actually I got it. Okay, so here's the link. Please feel free to look at it. We are continuously kind of fine-tuning what exactly is most useful for you in terms of this, what we can cover in the sessions for you and what's the best we can do. So there might be slight changes in the session plan. We might add a couple of more topics, or we might remove a topic which is not very relevant to the machine learning certification journey itself. But having said that, this is actually the comprehensive plan. So please feel free to go through it. I'll give you the sneak peek into the next session just now. So this is, I hope you can see my screen. So this is going to be our next session on TensorFlow. So we'll dive into building TensorFlow data pipelines, crafting machine learning models with TensorFlow and keras, excuse me, and learning strategies to enhance model accuracy, and of course, explaining the difference. Of course, how do you use it on Google Cloud? How do you do everything on Google Cloud? We'll touch base on the feature engineering too. So for those who are new, please RSVP to receive the credits for this one. And please go to the how to prepare for this session and look at the courses. If you can complete that, that's awesome. If you cannot, that's okay. You can take it slow and do it on your own pace. But do share your credits in Discord channel. We have separate channels to celebrate your credentials. Just one last thing that I want to address. Somebody gave us a feedback about subtitles and captions. So we'll definitely try to explore the options available to us for adding subtitles or captions in the future sessions. Thank you so much for your feedback. We just try our best to do whatever we can, to make it easy for you. And if there are, we'll try to answer your questions in Discord from what you asked us in Slido today. I think we are already 5 minutes past our schedule. So thank you, everyone, for joining. Anything, Margaret, you want to add?
I just want to say thank you, Preeti, for organizing, and GDG Survey and other speakers for organizing and your collaboration. This has been great. And the attendance by the attendees, I can see there's so much enthusiasm. Looking forward to seeing you all in the future sessions.
Yeah, thank you so much, Margaret, for making it possible. Everyone, we'll see you next week, and keep shooting your questions in Discord. Our mentor team is here to help you. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.